Okay, boys and girls, this will be from your magnetic workbook. It is Unit 2 assessment on page 418. Unit 2 assessment. Read the article, then answer the questions that follow. A Time of Discovery and Rediscovery by Nancy Day. Italy had finally awakened from its 1,000-year slumber, or so it seemed to Italians living in the 1400s. They felt that the world had been asleep since their land was invaded and taken over back in the 5th century. Italians referred to that dreary time as the Dark Ages. By contrast, they began to call the early 1400s the Renaissance, the French word for rebirth. Was the comparison fair? History experts disagree. What is clear is that the Renaissance was a remarkable time of discovery and rediscovery that changed the world. In 1347, a merchant ship arrived in Sicily, a kingdom in southern Italy. On board the ship were rats infested with fleas that carried a disease called the plague. Soon after, the plague swept through Italy and the rest of Europe. It killed more than 1/3 of the people. Cities shrank, production slowed, and prices dropped. Rather than sell grain at low prices, Italians started to produce more expensive items such as wine, oil, and cheese. Merchants also began exporting higher-priced silk instead of lower-priced wool. Gradually, Italy began to specialize in luxury items such as artistic metalwork, fine leather, and beautiful furniture. The northern Italian city-states, including Venice, Milan, and Florence, thrived. So did the Papal States of central Italy and the kingdoms of Naples and Sicily to the south. For the privileged few, money bought education. In the past, learning had focused on religious studies. Now it expanded to include grammar, history, poetry, and philosophy. Wealthy Italians thought that these subjects would lead to a greater understanding of human nature and give them an advantage in business. Renaissance Italians turned to ancient Rome, one of Italy's most powerful city-state, as the model for a great civilization. Lawyers studied Roman laws. Others discovered the joy of reading books from the past. Scholars rediscovered the art, math, and writing of great thinkers from the Greek and Roman empires. People's enjoyment of games, sports, and entertainment grew. Music flourished. This new focus on the human experience was reflected in the art of the Renaissance. This style of art became known as realism. Artists painted everyday people in natural settings and drew faces that revealed individual personalities and emotions. Sculptors studied the human body carefully and carved detailed lifelike statues. Two of the greatest sculptors of the Renaissance, Michelangelo and Donatello, created detailed human figures out of marble. Even today, people from all over the world visit Italy to view these works. Individual expression and accomplishments became important during the Renaissance. The ideal or perfect image of a person was to be well-rounded. A Renaissance man was supposed to be skilled in all the arts and sciences. Leonardo da Vinci was a perfect example. He was a painter, sculptor, architect, musician, and scientist. His famous flying machine, designed centuries before airplanes were invented, was based on his observations of how birds flew. The machine was never built, but Da Vinci's understanding of the science of flight is still studied today. The Renaissance achievement that had the greatest effect on the modern world was the printing press. It was invented by a German man named Johann Gutenberg around 1455. Before the printing press, books were written by hand. As a result, few were readily available, and they were very expensive. With the invention of printing, the number of books increased, and the cost decreased. As more and more people bought books, the ideas of the Italian Renaissance spread quickly. By the end of the 15th century, the Renaissance had spread to Germany. From there, it spread to France, England, and Spain. Not everyone experienced a Renaissance. Most women had few liberties. They were not free to make decisions about their own lives or enjoy interests outside the home. Servants, laborers, and other workers also had little say in the rules that controlled their lives. In addition, they were poor and unable to get an education. However, as the decades passed, the discoveries and achievements of the Renaissance gradually affected all levels of society. New ways of thinking and new forms of expression led Europe from the Dark Ages to modern times. The Renaissance changed the course of history and continues to influence the world today.